Welcome back to Glowing Card Gaming, and as always, I'm your host, Adam. And I just posted a kind of a World Series Rockies um, divisional winners kind of post video. And so I said I'd do a Broncos kind of sports talk one now, which is true, which is what I wanted to do. Hopefully, this one won't be quite as long because I posted a short not too long ago saying that the Broncos should fire Sean Payton. I still think that. I don't think Sean Payton is the coach for the Denver Broncos. He is the coach for now. And with the, the wins over the Green Bay Packers, and especially that shocking win over the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he is the coach for now, kind of thing. The interim until you can find a coach that's going to work for your team. I think Sean Payton wants to change the Broncos into the Saints, which there's nothing particularly wrong with that, except that not a lot of the players are good or are a good fit for that system. What you need is a coach that can do the most with the players that he has. So um, that's that's where I think really you have to have somebody in mind. And I've said this time and time again throughout the years. If you're going to fire a coach, if you're going to get rid of a quarterback or a key player like that, before you do that, have someone in mind for the replacement. Don't just fire somebody to fire them. The only reason you would do that is if they are so bad you have no other choice. Josh McDaniels just got fired as Las Vegas Raiders. Still so weird to say that. As their head coach, mid-season. Very tough decision to fire a coach mid-season like that. They have, I think it was the defensive coordinator coming in and now coaching the team as the interim head coach. My guess is he will be the coach until the end of the year, and at which time um, Davis, and I can't remember his son's name. I know Al Davis, but I can't remember his son's name because his son doesn't even look that bright. So I know looks, shouldn't judge somebody on looks, but he's not been the brightest bulb in the light socket. I don't know what to say. Um, he's been just a horrible owner, I think, for the Raiders, and he's just not great. Um, which I think owners that really do well as owners are very passionate and knowledgeable about talent for football teams. If you look at Pat Bowlen, that's why he won over 70% of all games since he bought the Broncos back whenever he did that, 1980. That's why they won 3 Super Bowls with him. That's why they made the playoffs more often than they didn't when he was the owner and when he had all of his faculties. He was down in that locker room every morning saying hello to the players and coaches. He hung out with them. He knew them. He knew the system. I doubt there were many owners like him. Hate him, like him, whatever. He made the team good. He was able to find the talent to make the team good. He knew what kind of team he wanted and went out and got the pieces and did what was necessary to put together winning teams. don't believe the Raiders owner is capable of doing that. He may want to. He, you know, like it or not, he owns a team. So I say all of that because, what if the interim coach, the Raiders, same record as the Broncos, 3-5, 3-4, something like that right now, and they might have had their bye week already. Denver has their bye week this week. That being said, if the interim coach wins 6 games, say, and they go to 9-8 on the season, or let's say they win 7 games and they go to 10-7, and either make the playoffs as a wild card, or they make the playoffs. Let's just say they make the playoffs, or they miss it. Maybe that was the other thing I was going to say. They miss it by 1 game, right? They're right there on the cusp, but you can tell they went from 3-4, 3-5, kind of mediocre, to a winning team. I would be willing to bet in Vegas money that the current owner, Davis, doesn't keep the coach. And in that situation, I think you give the head coach or the interim coach another year. All the while planning who you want to have come in and coach the team after, if necessary. But if that coach works out, you make the playoffs, you win a playoff game or two, you contend for a Super Bowl. I don't know how you get rid of him at that point. At least not until he tanks it and he has like a 4-12, 4-13, 4-13 season or something ridiculous like that. I forget it's 17 games, so the math. I'm used to 16, so I'm used to all of those numbers. So shifting back to the Broncos, I think with the 2 wins, I think that they should fire Sean Payton at the end of the year. But if you do that, you have to be ready to bring in a new coach, and who that coach would be. So you have to have somebody that's. I think you need somebody that's younger, and you need somebody that is going to be able to work with the players and staff that you have to make them a winning team. Now, granted, I say that, and what if the last 2 games are the tip of the iceberg? And what if after the bye week, Denver beats the Buffalo Bills? And then they go on like a 4-game, 5-game run where all of a sudden they're 8-5. And they've won 7 straight. I mean, at that point, you kind of have to see how the rest of the season plays out, but, Sean Payton may earn himself, kind of like I was just talking about with, I keep wanting to say Oakland or LA, the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, that their interim coach, kind of the same, he would be in the same situation at that point. You're on the cusp of the playoffs, or you do make the playoffs, and you even win a game or two. All of a sudden, you're contending for Super Bowl. You got to give him another year, because that's kind of the flip side of that coin, and it's kind of something I've been saying without saying it. Like year 1 with the new ownership, the Wally World people. You had a new coach, a new quarterback, new ownership, almost a new entire team, and that's a formula for disaster, and it was. I knew that team was not going to be good, and they were not. I also think they fired that coach a little too soon. I always like to try and give coaches, especially new coaches, the benefit of the doubt and give them 2 or 3 seasons. If by the end of the second season they haven't tipped it to 500 or better, yeah, you might get rid of them. Um, why I'm saying this about Sean Payton early and now, Sean Payton is a well seasoned head coach. He is someone that should know how to win pretty much immediately. Granted, it's a new team. You know, he's putting in a new system. He's figuring the team out. The one thing that he did last week against the Chiefs that I really liked is we'd been running the ball well, and that was recognized. And that was he found a way to get some screens out and get those runs and just run the ball a lot and put up 24 points. Now the defense was amazing. I'm telling you, the Bronco team is better than you think they are. They are better than you think they are. That Chiefs team, that was the team that was out there last week. I was not impressed 3 weeks ago when they beat Denver in KC. I thought they were really flat and kind of horrible looking. Um, and only beat the Broncos 19-8, and only because the Broncos couldn't find a gear, couldn't catch a gear. They felt flat. They just played worse than the Chiefs did. But it wasn't like the Chiefs looked all that great. It was like two mediocre teams, and one just had an off night even. And that was the Broncos having an off night. So seeing the Broncos as they are now, I think the offense still is going to improve. I think you're going to see that. And the defense that you're seeing now is definitely not the one that gave up so many points to Miami in week 2. Um, and you got to remember there were injuries and other stuff that happened that allowed that to be. Since then, Denver is 4th in defense in giving points up. Kansas City scored 9 and no touchdowns. I mean, if you take away that 70-point game, Denver, by a mile defensively, has given up the fewest points this season to all the NFL teams. They are the number 1 defense, period. And that's amazing that they're 4th and they gave up 70 to Miami. That is a crazy stat. I almost want to see Miami and Denver rematch in the playoffs. I think that would be great, especially if Denver was able to beat them and pretty solidly. Not 70, you know. I don't think Miami's going to get up 70, especially the Broncos offense. I don't think Broncos offense is capable of putting up 70 points. But they could put up 30 or 40. I think there's some room to grow there. There's little things here and there that if they would just do this or complete that, or there wasn't a drop, or there's just little things that tell me that they could break out and have some big point games. And on the flip side of that, having this defense give up less than 10 points in again, I think they've given up I don't know what the stat is, 20.4 or something like that, to make them the 4th best defense in terms of points given away or point totals, and the turnovers. Oh, man, that was just beautiful against Kansas City. They made Kansas City look exactly like I thought Kansas City should look. I just didn't think Kansas City this year was that great. In the past, 16 wins or 15 prior to that one, Kansas City looked great. I wasn't sure Denver could have ever beaten them, except for the first few. It always seemed like it was a back and forth thing, and Kansas City just happened to win, maybe because they had the ball last or something like that. But in the last 5 years, Kansas City's offense has been good. They've been the offense you think they were. This year they're not, and I this is going to be a bold statement, but I believe that Kansas City will not win the division this year. I don't know if it'll be Denver. Maybe not. It could be the Raiders, especially with the coaching change. The Raiders could come back and win the division. San Diego, they're now the LA Chargers. It's so ridiculous. Um, it would be like if the Denver Broncos moved and now they were um, the Detroit Broncos or something. Yeah, see how stupid that sounds? Dumb. Teams, like, if you're. Figure it out. Figure out how to stay in the city you're in. I don't think teams should move very often. And it seems like they move all the time. Anyway, that's a majority of what I think I wanted to say about the Denver Broncos. Yeah, they aren't the team you thought they were, and neither are the Chiefs. And I think that game really showed it. I think you're going to see Kansas City go into Germany and Frankfurt. They play Miami this week. That's an L for Kansas City. I think Miami wins that, and they win it pretty easily. I want to say, with Kelsey probably grabs a touchdown there. And they probably improve a little bit they probably kick a field goal or two more. Uh, Probably get to 20 points. So I would think that Miami is going to win that 34-20, or even get an extra touchdown, 41-20. Um, yeah, that's what I'm going to go with is 34-20. Miami wins that game in Germany this year. Excuse me. Um, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I nailed the score of the Green Bay Denver game, 1917. I called Denver was going to win, but it was going to be a tight game because both those teams were just in a horrible spot. They didn't look great, and yeah, it was two ships passing in the night, but Green Bay was going the opposite direction of the Broncos. The Broncos are heading up; they're becoming a better team. Green Bay is heading down; they are not a good team. Um, and again, I think you're going to see Denver improve throughout the season. I think you'll see more running, and they'll figure out a way to utilize the runners a little bit more on some passing screens and maybe over the top, the short slants, and stuff like that. And when they figure that out, they're going to score one or two more touchdowns, and you're going to see scores like 38 put up by Denver. And that defense is so staunch, so stiff that you may not see another team score more than 20 on Denver this year. And if that's the case, if that happens, Denver may win out. And they are going to be a tough team to play in the playoffs. So teams that are playoff bound may want to hope that Kansas City is able to win the division somehow. But I don't think they will. We'll see what happens, especially in 2 weeks in Buffalo. That will be actually Buffalo is in Denver for that game, which is also why I think Denver will win that. But again, it's going to be a struggle. Um, I don't think their offense. The offense is really the key in that. I don't think the offense is quite ready. But if that defense is just as good as they were against Kansas City, Denver wins that game just because Buffalo can't score. Won't be able to score that many points. Though I think Buffalo scores more points than Kansas City did. Um, Maybe I'll give a prediction for that later, but um, I'm not ready to give that out just yet. I know Denver's going to get healthier. They have the bye, and so does Buffalo, and I think that's probably going to be another hard fought tooth and nail. It's going to be close. I think it'll be very close. But I'll probably make another video next week to describe and predict the um, score in that one, and maybe I'll go over that a little bit as we get closer. I think that's about it. That's all I want to say for this round on Going Card Gaming. If you have comments, you disagree, go ahead and put them down there. I don't get a lot of comments, so the chances of your comment getting read pretty good. So go ahead, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification button to make sure you know when I post the videos and when I'm live playing Baldur's Gate or some other video game. And if there's other content you want to see, also leave that down as a comment. More than happy to shift gears since this channel is still kind of in the process of forming. You know, I'm just doing the things that I like. I like sports. I like video games, so that's what I'm streaming out. That's what the videos I'm making. So that's the type of content we're doing for the moment. But more than happy to go back and watch some classic television and kind of share my thoughts on those things, especially the old um, TV show, especially TV shows, not just TV shows, movies, but the keep wanting to say video games, the game shows. Words, they're difficult sometimes, but if you want to see content where I react to game shows, more than happy to do that. Scary videos, I know Corey Kenshin and some other people really have done that and are better at doing that, especially video game horror video games. That's probably where you're going to get those a lot better. But if you have ideas, more than willing to try something out, see how we can get this to work. Mod the channel, start making this look more professional. But I got to get the views, I got to get the followers. All that stuff's got to come together. So be sure to like and subscribe and share it out so we can get this channel going. I appreciate all of you. And as always, just be good to each other. Thanks for watching Gold Card Gaming. I'm Adam, and I'll see you next time.